So this is just a quick summary of what we did on Monday in class. That would be Monday 2018, October 8th. Okay. Um, so we wrote this code, and let's see what we did. We created a folder in the root of our repository called JavaScript test. Inside it we put well, let's just go one step at a time. I'll come over here, and first I'm going to make sure that I have opened my repository. Okay, so I go out and I find my repository and I open it. Now you can see I already have the JavaScript test from what we did in class, so I will create, in order to duplicate what we did in class, I will create a new folder called JavaScript video. Of course, you should call yours JavaScript test, but this way I can duplicate what we did in class. Then inside it we put a file called test.js. So you can click on the folder you're working with and choose new file would be one solution, or you could click on that folder and choose new file this way. That would be a second solution. And we type test.js. We also, during that class, opened a command line and looked at the files in that directory. And you can see that there is a JavaScript, in your case, test folder. And if you look inside of it, there's a file called test.js. What we're doing is we're making sure that it's not on this level that test.js got created. It's not in the root of our repository. Instead, it's in the JavaScript video directory. Now your directories will look slightly different because you're working on Windows and I'm working on Linux, but all the commands are the same. It would be cd JavaScript video, it would be dir, and you'd see the listings the same way. They might look slightly different, but the same thing is happening. Okay, then the first thing we did was we wrote out, as I recall, console.log prog109, and then we put a semicolon at the end, and we saved our work. I press Control S to save my work. I could also go File, Save, but you can see that Save has Control S as a shortcut. Use Control S. Get in the habit of it so you don't have to always be clicking the mouse. Every time you have to touch the mouse, you're wasting time. Learn the shortcuts. Then down here we typed node test.js, and that printed out the contents of the parameter that we passed to console.log. So I typed node and then like TE, and then I pressed tab, and then I pressed enter to run that program. Then the next thing we did was we created a variable var prog109 and called it prog109. Was my memory of the way it went. So we went up here and we declared it prog109 equals prog109. Doesn't matter what string we set it to. We are declaring a variable called prog109, and we are setting it equal to the string prog109. By putting this code in quotes, we are declaring it to be a string. And you can put anything in a string, including the whole contents of War and Peace if you wanted to. And then here we've got a semicolon. You can, in fact, put the entire contents of War and Peace in a string, but you would have to use slightly different syntax for this because it's multiple lines that it would be declared on. Okay, now, then we're going to write out that variable. So we're no longer writing out a string. Instead, we're writing out the variable that we have declared above. One other thing I should tell you about strings is they can be in double quotes or they can be in single quotes. It's up to you which way you do it. There would be reasons to do it one way or the other, such as if you're using an apostrophe in your string, then it might be better to use double quotes for the string so that you can simply insert an apostrophe in it. So if we wrote Margot's, we get into trouble because this quote is ended by this quote. So in that case, it would be smarter to do it this way, like that. Okay. So now we're going to go here and we're going to run our program again. Notice that I just hit up arrow and that got me the last command that I did. That will also work on Windows. And it prints out the contents of my string. So let's go back over here. The next thing we did was we declared two more variables. Var A equals 10, var B equals 15, and then we added another console.log statement, A plus B. And we'll run that, and you can see that it prints out that. We also wrote we copied this and then we turned it into a multiplication, and that gives us our string, the addition, and the multiplication. Our string, our addition, and the multiplication. And then finally, we also, I'll just block copy this in. No, I won't, because I have a little technical issue there. So I'll write it. A plus B and then I'll come and I'll run that, and that gives us yet another solution. It sounds like my tea is ready. Well, I guess if it was time for me to go get some tea, it must be time for you guys too. So I'll take a break then at that point, and we'll start another video to discuss what else we talked in class.